Foundry is a first-person factory builder simulation set in an endless procedural-generated voxel world where you mine resources, craft machinery, and automate your research to progress through the game. I've already played 20 hours in the early access branch of this game and over 50 hours of the demo. In today's video, I'm going to go over the beginning of the game with you, showing you some tips and tricks that I've learned in my time playing Foundry. This video is sponsored by Paradox. And make sure to check the game out. It comes out in early access today, or else these cute guys get it. When you load into the game, press M. This will open up your map. Here you'll see two starting nodes, and you'll want to make sure that these are as close to each other as possible. But I recreated my game a few times until I had some adjacent nodes. And here's the scene in case you want to follow along. Now, the first thing you'll want to do here is equip your ore scanner and use it. It will show you where the ores are. Now, right here, you'll see we have the xenophrite ore, and this is the technum ore. And if you go onto your map now, you'll see here that the area that is opened up is the scanned area. It will reveal all the ore inside of this area. Now, some ore, like this one right here with the lines in it, means it's unreachable. And that means it's so far down the ground that we need to research some technology in order to reach this ore. Now, some resources that you don't have access to right now will show up as unknown resources. And we have two of these, and well, three if you count this one over here on our map. What you'll want to do here is start by mining all of these little ore chunks. You'll want to clear out the entire ore here so that none of these chunks are there so that they don't impede with our building. We want it completely cleared just like this. And we'll do the same thing here with the technum ore. Now, when you have both of these two ore patches completely mined, you'll want to head over to your landing pod here and insert your ore into the smelters that are built into the landing pod. While these are smelting, we'll go ahead and clear out the trees between the two ore nodes to give us enough place to build our factory. We're going to need a lot of biomass anyways, so this is not wasted time. All right, now that we're done that, we'll just go grab everything that we have access to here, and we'll re-add more ore into the smelters. We'll build around 50 building blocks for now, and we'll add them to our bar. The thing you'll want to do here is place a platform directly in the center of your ore. And the reason for that is the miners will only cover a certain area away from around them. And if you place your platform on the side here, it won't cover the entire ore vein. So you want to make sure that your miners cover the entire ore vein. So place the platform directly above. And what will happen here is the miners will they'll mine the ore, and eventually the ore will disappear, and they'll be able to go underneath and mine the ore underneath the platform. So don't worry about that. So we'll place 30 platforms, and that will give us the ability to go and construct a drone miner. So we'll do that. And while it's constructing, I'm just gonna go grab more of our items here and drop more ore. And once it's crafted, I'm gonna right click on it in my inventory, and this will allow me to place down the building. Now, this is what I was talking about. If we go far away from the ore, you can see here that it doesn't cover the entire ore. So by placing it in the middle here, you can pretty much see that the entire ore is being covered. So that's exactly what we want. Now, before we can get this to work, however, we're going to have to craft a biomass burner. Now, what we'll want to do is actually add a line here of building blocks that heads towards the other vein. And off of this line, we can go ahead and add another block here. And that is where we are going to add our biomass burner. In here, we can click this button over here, and that will deposit all the biomass that we have currently on us up to 100. And what that will do is it will dispatch these little cute drones out of the miners, and these guys will start harvesting the resources. We'll want to do the exact same thing onto the other side now. So we'll want to craft another miner and some more building blocks. Then we'll add our platform on the technum and then connect this platform to that one right there in order to give it power. Power is transmitted through these floors right here. So you want to make sure that the platforms are connected to your biomass burner. Now we ran out of items. We're going to go back to our drop pods and grab everything and deposit the last of our ore here. And with that, we'll craft a few more building blocks and then craft 2 smelters. All right, now we'll add a miner on this one, and this one should start dispatching some drones. Perfect. Hello. Now we're being tasked with creating a smelter. So we'll add a platform right about here, and then we'll have to craft a smelter and then right click it and place it down about here. Now to use the smelter, we'll have to go to manage inventory here, and then we'll have to give it some ore. We'll deposit this technum ore, and now from now on we could just use this button instead. So the manage inventory is a small way to select the recipe, if you will. So we'll do the exact same thing onto the other side so that we can start smelting the xenophrite ore. Now something you could do is you could copy an existing building by pressing Q, but you have to be fairly close to it for it to work. We'll put this one here, and then we'll grab some xenophrite ore and place it in here. Perfect. Now we're smelting from these smelters instead of our landing pod over there, and these are way more efficient. They'll actually smelt a lot quicker. They'll smelt about 20 per minute. But now we're doing everything by hand, and it would be nice to start automating this. So we're gonna grab what we can here, and we're gonna start crafting some conveyor belts. And we'll also craft some loaders. We'll place down our belts here, leaving a space between the belts and the miner. And then we're going to hit R to rotate the belt, start ending over here. We'll expand our platform, and then we're going to rotate the belt again down like this. We don't have to do that. We could have went straight here, but this is just so that it allows for expansion. We're going to want to add a loader that will go from our miner here and onto the belt. It'll automatically start outputting the items from the miner. But let's say instead of an output, you wanted an input, you can always hit this toggle button here and it'll change it to an intake loader instead. Now from here, we can go and have it load into the smelter. And we'll want to do the same thing, but onto the other side now. And I want to show that you could place your loaders first here and then place down your belt after the fact. So we'll just make it go around like this and then place our loader. Now that this is automated, we'll go ahead and craft a couple more smelters. And we'll also need another biomass burner because you'll see here that we sometimes use up to 460. We're getting close to the end here. So what we'll want to do is just expand by adding another biomass burner, and we'll just place all our biomass down. And you can see now that what's happening is our current output had dropped because it's now sharing it with the other one. So now that we have capacity, we can go ahead and expand our smelters. So we're just gonna keep going this way, and then it's easy to just expand the belt and the loader. And look at that, just like that, we're now doubling our plate production. We'll do the same thing here on the rod side. There you go. That's beautiful. Now, Carl wants us to do a research server now. This is just like Factorio, where you'll be crafting the science pack. You'll need to feed the science packs into the research servers. So we're going to go ahead and craft one research server. Now, by default, you need to open up the tablet here with the V. Then you can do Q for copying something. But what you could do instead is go to settings, gameplay, and head down to allow copy and paste settings without tablet, and you'll want to turn this on. We'll craft more building blocks, some more conveyors, and a couple more smelters, and then we'll start expanding this section right here. And then we'll place down our research server. Now here we could set the research interface. We could also hit G, and this will open up the research tree. There's quite a bit to be done here, and over here on the left, what are yellow is what you can do right now, and everything else in red you can't do right now. First, we have to research this emergency beacon, so we'll do that first because that's the only thing we can do. You'll want to get the automation of science pack done as quick as possible, but at the beginning here, you'll want to just manually craft these until we can get the assembler done, because the assembler is what you need in order to automate them, but you need a total of 8 science pack in order to get the assembler. So you'll want to manually craft those 8 science packs. when you have 3 crafted, you can come here and put them into the research server, and it will start researching the emergency beacon. Here you'll see at the top right. Emergency beacon's done. So now we can go and start researching the assembly. We'll add a smelter to each one of our smelter arrays. And there you go. Now we have 3 smelters for each one of these things. Now you'll see here that the smelters are doing 20 per minute. And here this miner can do up to 60 when it's fully optimized. As far as I can tell anyways. We don't need more until we decide to add another miner. But for now, that'll be perfectly fine. So now we need to expand. We need to get ready for the assemblers, which we've just unlocked now. So let's have a quick look at what we want to do first. Do we want to improve our character by having additional slots? And that is something we'll definitely want to do as quick as possible. But something that's even better than that, though, for now, is getting the basic infrastructure. And this will allow us to do things like craft the logistic containers, which is where we store our items, and have what's called a second lane loader. So right now, you see how we are 1 away from the building here? It's an extra long loader that will allow us to go 3 spaces away from the buildings. So we'll want to get that as quick as possible. It's also the same tree to unlock the conveyor balancer, which is pretty much your splitters. So we'll definitely want to go down that route. Now, before we do anything else, we'll craft 1 emergency beacon just so that we can move along with the quest line here. And after that, we'll craft about 2 assemblers just to get that going. And then we'll craft, I don't know, like 8 loaders and a bunch of building blocks. For now, I'm just going to add the emergency beacon behind. I'll just add the emergency beacon pretty much anywhere here. And we're going to click this button to send an emergency signal. Oh! I did that just so that you could see that you'll want to make sure to place that a little bit further away from your base, or else yeah, this happens. Now, when something like this happens, you can go and mine these items, and it'll actually give you back the basic materials for the equivalent of what was broken. Oh, we could bring this back here and then place him right here. Oh, look at this guy. Now, this guy will give you quests that will unlock certain things, so you'll want to do it as quick as possible. So now we could go up to him and hit the research assembler. And since we've already done that quest, we could go back to him and hand it in. Make sure to build some more science pack and add it in here while you're doing other things until we have everything automated. You always want to be progressing, so you don't want to wait for nothing. Oh, now we've finished the basic infrastructure, which gives us the ability to use some containers, which is really good, but we'll also want to use it for the second lane loaders. So we'll go ahead and start doing that. We'll start crafting another biomass burner, a few assemblers, and we want to make sure we have quite a bit of belts, building blocks, some loaders, and then once we have all those necessities, we'll start crafting a few more science packs. Now, we want to automate the science pack. That's our first main goal. And for that, we have to automate the creation of technum rods, which we already do, and then machinery parts. Now, machinery parts require some xenophorite ore plates, which we're crafting. So all we have to do is send those plates into an assembler to craft the machinery parts, and then join them up with the rods, and we'll be able to craft a science pack. So first things first, we want to start using an output for these smelters. So we'll expand both these sides here to make room to output onto a belt, and we're going to start heading back this way. And we'll make sure to copy the same thing onto the other for the other smelters. So right now we have a belt of rods ready to go. And in the interim, what we can do here is just craft a couple logic containers. And if we add one down here, what we could do is move the belt in front of it and load our rods into this container. So now we have a storage box for the Technum rods. And we'll do the same thing onto the other side for the plates. There you go. Now we're storing the plates. So it makes it so that we only have to grab from one container instead of 3. Now, he's got a new quest, and that's expand the smelters. So we'll grab that. So we're going to expand this way now, and we'll start dealing with creating our components. So on this side, we just really need machinery parts. So we'll add an assembler, and we'll have the plates go into the storage and then come out onto a line that will feed the assembler. And the reason we do that is so that if the assembler is full and the line backs up, then we can start storing the plates for future use. There's always going to be items on this line before we start storing. Now for here, the assembler, we'll go and configure assembler, and we'll choose the machinery parts. And we can see here that it takes 40 per minute to create 40 per minute. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio. And you'll remember that we're creating, if all 3 of these were to work at 100% efficiency, we were creating 60 per minute. And we do yield 60 per minute from the mines. Now you'll see we just ran out of power, and that's because we ran out of biomass here. So we'll just place some down here. Now what happens here when you're not providing enough and you're maxing out, all your machines are gonna slow down, but it won't stop from working as long as you have one source of power. So here we'll want to go and make sure to just take the time to go grab more biomass to fill our biomass burners. Top up the biomass in the burners. Now we are getting pretty high on the consumption here, so we could add a 3rd biomass burner and load that one up, and then we'll be good for a little bit. So right now we're making a total of 40 machinery parts, and we're storing a total of 20 per minute of plates, which is okay for now. Now we'll want to output these, so we'll go on this side here, and we'll add another belt and have it go this way. And now we have the machinery parts. So just like we do on the other side, we'll want to expand this. We'll have the rods output onto this line here. There are components made out of Technum rods, these wire coils, and you can use the coils and the rods again in order to make electronic components. First thing we're going to want to do is add an assembler. We'll make sure that the panel is on this side so we can have a look at it here. And we'll have it do some wires. Now here we're taking 40 per minute, and it's the same thing on this side. We're doing 60 per minute. And these 40 rods per minute is then making 80 per minute of wires. We're going to add another assembler, leaving 3 spaces between the other assembler for now. We'll set the recipe to do electronic components. Now we will expand our belt to go down here, and then add this going into here. And if we add a belt in middle of 2 assemblers and add an output here for the wires, and then an input going into the other assembler, we'll see here that we are going to start crafting 20 electronic components per minute. So now we're taking all of our iron rods per minute, so we're not storing any more here, and we need some for the science packs. How much we need for the science pack? Well, we can put down an assembler and find out. So for a science pack, we need 16 per minute, and this takes in 20 mechanical parts, which we are already making over here. We're actually making 40 right now. We'll be able to do 2 machines producing some blue science packs. So we'll want to get another 32 per minute. And so that is 2 more smelters. If we want to add 2 more smelters, we're going to need to add another miner. So we'll start by expanding our smelter array by adding 2 more smelters. All right, now that we've researched the second lane loader, we can go and start researching the conveyor balancer now. And we're going to keep adding our blue science pack as we have them made. Now that we have our second lane, we can modify this to be a little bit more efficient, just to keep some space here. So this is what I would do. I would just move the assembler so that it's next to the other one. We'll expand our platform here just a little bit. What we could do is have the output go this far and add a belt, And now you can see we are outputting the wires onto a further belt. And from this belt, we can have it go back into this other assembler here to craft some electronics. And now we have an extra 40 per minute of wires ready for whoever wants it. And if we expand the platform behind this assembler, we also have a belt for the electronics. So now this side is pretty much done for now, and you can always expand if you need any more of one thing here. We can always expand and add this way, add more of what we would really need. But for now, this is good enough. So we'll expand the miner platform. We'll add a second miner here, and then we'll just have it go onto the same belt as the other ore. So after a little bit there, we'll see we'll have a total of 120 ore per minute going down this. Now, the information database is very strong in this game. It's got some advanced tips. It's got a lot of good stuff here. I would take the time to read some of this stuff, because it does get very awesome, especially when dealing with assemblers. Like, there are things you can do to copy the recipe. So let's say I copied the assembler here. The regular copy only copies the machine, but if you want to copy the recipe, you can do shift right click and then shift left click, and you can see here that it copied the recipe. And these are all things that you can read inside the advanced tips and all that. Now that we have enough rods and we have the mechanical parts being done, we can go on to automate our science packs. And for that, we'll just add a platform here. And once we're done filling the platform up, we can add an assembler right in the middle, something like this. And we'll configure it to do some science packs. And because we know we can do 2 of them, we're just gonna go ahead and add 2 down. And we're just gonna make sure that we have enough platform size here. Then we're gonna bring the belt around from the mechanical parts to the assemblers and put them into the assemblers. To demolish items, you could press F, and that will enter demolition mode. And if you hit Shift F, you can then click once and then drag. And then if you click again, that will allow you to go vertically. So this is a good way to do some mass deletion. So now what we could do is bring this over, and we'll load these guys up like so. The final thing we're going to need here is another belt going this way, where we can then export using the second lane belts for outputs, and that will add the science pack here. And this science pack will come this way, where we can then add them to the server. So before we can see if all this worked out just fine, we're gonna go and get some more biomass. Okay, we'll top up the biomass in our burners. So now we just have to copy the recipe into here and wait for things to come back around. And just like that, we're now crafting 4 science pack per minute. And these are going to get loaded here and then go into the research server. So we've automated 4 science pack per minute, which is obviously not a lot, don't get me wrong, but it's a good start. Let me know in the comments down below if you want this to be turned into a mini series, and I will continue playing it on my channel, and I'll gladly do so. Our next step would be to start creating a mall. So let me know if that is something you definitely want to see, and I will keep doing this. And don't forget to check out this game. It comes out on early access today, and you can find a link in the description and pinned comments down below.